Now, I had a shower thought not too long, literally 30 minutes ago, and I just felt I had to make a video about this. This is my first video. Obviously, the quality isn't going to be the best, but I will try my best making the content gold. Now, yes, the audio is gonna be off as I'm doing this completely on my phone, and so will be the editing. But hopefully, as I do more videos, I will get used to it and get better. But for that to happen, I need to know if I have support or not. Now, yes, I am going to do the typical YouTuber thing and ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell along with sharing the video if that's good for you. I mean, I need it. And I think I have some pretty good theories in my mind, but I won't be able to get them out unless I know it's wanted. Now, with chapter 17 being out for like what, a week? I'm not sure, probably a week, but it's been made obviously clear that Konohamaru is in a really bad spot. And by a bad spot, I mean he's gonna die. Now, his death will be shocking for viewers since he's been a long time character in Naruto, but it's actually really important for the story. From a narrative perspective, his death would push the plot forward in a really good way. And it would also give us some important info on what happens when a Shinju absorbs someone. And if I'm being honest, getting info on the Shinju is enough to kill a character. I mean, they're the main focus for this entire part too. Now, why I think that Konohamaru is very simple. I mean, his correlating Shinju is right next to him. And if anybody's gonna die, it's obviously gonna be the target of a Shinju. So now that I've made my theory clear, I obviously need to give you some background. And I gotta be honest, Sourda is the winning or losing condition for Team 7. Now, for me to explain that, we need to go into Boruto Part 1, specifically the Chunin exams, and more specifically, the final match between Shinki and Boruto. You see, this is important for a couple of reasons. First off, I want to break down the final moments of the fight. We see a clash between Boruto and Shinki, and first, I want to break down Shinki's ability. If you don't know, Shinki has a very rare Gekigenkai called Magnet Release, which basically allows him to control grains of iron sand, if you want to call it that. And on Boruto's side, he used Shiden, or more commonly known as Purple Lightning. Now, this is important because it gets really interesting when we take a deep dive through real world physics. Because Boruto's use of purple lightning makes absolute sense. Now, iron, which is a ferromagnetic material, gets hit by lightning, it becomes superheated. Now, on a molecular level, the intense heat disrupts the alignment of magnetic domains, therefore resulting in a loss of magnetism. So I'm telling you this because Boruto's usage of purple lightning wasn't just for show. I mean, it's been made clear Boruto is a fighting genius confirmed by Kakashi. That means his use of purple lightning was his weakness, and I just gave you real world proof. Now, yes, this is a fiction story. Oh my god. Ignore that. But going back to my point, this is a fictional story, but at the same time, it makes sense. Now, the weakness of electricity, as I've said, makes total sense. Because Shinki's weakness is also going to be Rimu's. Now, why this is important on Sarada and how she actually goes into the theory, well, that's because she's the only current member of Team 7. Well, not the only. Mitsuki is there, but her lightning jutsu, the Chidori, is probably the stronger of the two, which, as we've seen, does take an extreme amount of lightning, just like it does in real life, to render magnet release useless. Now, it starts to get a little interesting that Sarada is the only character that can actually put up a fight against Ryu, And that's because it's been made clear that she's not in the right mental state to actually be in the mission. And it isn't just for show that it's been pointed out multiple times in a couple of chapters. Now, why I think it's been made a POI is simple. You see, Sarada, as I've made my point, she's the only one that can actually counter Ryu's Gekigenkai. But let's not worry about that right now. I want to switch gears and talk about Kashin Koji for a little bit. Now, Kashin Koji, who has been training Boruto in various jutsu, makes it clear that he wouldn't waste time on useless jutsu if it wasn't directly linked to the world's survival. Therefore, Boruto's mastery of Purple Lightning is no exception, as being able to use a Shinju's weakness against them is absolutely something Kajin Koji would do. But there's a little bit of a twist. If Team 7 does succeed in killing Matsuri and Ryu, well then Boruto's training would be void. And I'm saying this because obviously Kajin Koji would have picked the best route, meaning Kajin Koji is fully aware of what's going to happen in the future. Maybe not a specific timeline, but is taking the common denominator out of all of them, which again brings me back to my theory that Sarada is going to lose as Boruto is going to have to use Shiden later on in the story against Ryu. Now, why I'm saying this is very simple. Since in chapter 17, there was a key moment between Boruto and Koji. You see, Koji gives a vague response when asked about Team 7's mission success rate, and I think that's because he knows the outcome. Now, Koji most likely gave a vague answer for two reasons. First, the outcome isn't beneficial for Boruto in any way. And second, the outcome will be needed for the best case scenario on Earth's survival. Meaning, this is all going to Koji's plan. However, Boruto being a singularity of fate means his interruption will cause the worst case scenario. It was also made clear that Kashin Koji would do anything to keep Boruto alive, but will also do anything to keep Fate in the straight path it's going. Now, this all ties back to Konohamaru's death simply because it's the best case scenario for Earth's survival. Now, for a brief summarization, I gave you Ryu's weakness. Now, I was able to prove Ryu's weakness through real-world science, which is used occasionally in Naruto, but at the same time, it could have just been for flashy effect. Now, if my theory is correct, then the story is itself hinting at Konohamaru's death. I mean, look at the mission he's been placed on. That's to kill Matsuri, who is his correlating Shinju. Not only that, but Ryu is with her, who we can assume is probably the third or second strongest Shinju out there. Meaning Matsuri isn't completely helpless. I mean, she has Ryu's backup if anything will go wrong, and obviously something will go wrong. But even though Matsuri has backup, Team 7 does not. As Kajin Koji has made it perfectly clear that he would not allow Boruto to go under any circumstances, as his interference will result in his death. Now, I have given you a brief summarization. I do again want to apologize on the quality of the video. Again, it just takes time to get better at it, and I will eventually. Now, on my part, I will do anything and everything I can to get better. Now, what I want to ask out of you guys is please, please, if you think this theory is actually good, let me know by, I don't know, actually subscribing and liking the video. So until then, I do want to say goodbye.